I'm Abrielle Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and I'm here today on the phone with Kassi Jones. She's the chairman for the Bonnet rodeo that will be happening in Idaho Falls and the executive producer for the following events. This is quite exciting. This is happening July 29th through August 1st. It's the Idaho's oldest professional rodeo. But Kassi, can you tell me a little bit more about kind of yourself and your role in this big rodeo that's coming up soon?
Hi, absolutely. So happy to be here. I appreciate this. So I'm Kassi Jones, and as you mentioned, I'm chairman of the advisory board, so I oversee every moving part of the Bonnet Roundup, as well as the executive producer. So that entails me putting together the entire flow of the event that you see from start to finish. So that's the Wednesday kickoff, as well as the pre-rodeo events and the PRCA event as well. Just a little background about myself. I have been with the Bonnet Roundup since 2011. I was the 100th anniversary rodeo queen for them at the time, and Bob Skinner was actually the chairman at the time. So in order to give back, I made sure to make a point to help Bob in any aspect that I could. And we'll just say that I've pretty well been a part of every moving part of this event, even before the city took it back over. And I just so happen to have the absolute privilege to be able to lead an entire team of board members, committees, and volunteers to put on this historic event every year since, well, I should say probably the past 5 years as chairman, and I believe I've been the executive producer a little longer beyond that. I want to say about 7 years.
Wow, that's that's awesome. And you said you were the rodeo queen back in the day?
I was. Yep, 2011, I had the opportunity to compete against some very aspiring ladies that were absolutely beautiful in their own rights, and I so happened to win the title, so I was able to represent basically Idaho Falls Pro Rodeo across more of like the western states. I also took the title to Miss Rodeo USA back then, and so I was able to just make sure that there was plenty of exposure for Idaho's oldest rodeo, from Oklahoma to California to Utah to you name it, around these states that surround Idaho. I was there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was looking online at the website and kind of about the Bonnet Roundup. It's called Bonnet Roundup Rodeo, right?
Well, the technical term is the Bonnet Roundup. The rodeo portion just kind of helps the folks that don't understand that it is a rodeo, but when we come to, marketing or talking about it, a lot of times we leave the rodeo part out, but it is welcome to be used just to make sure that people understand that it is, in fact, a rodeo.
Yeah, this is, to me, it's kind of crazy that this is like the oldest rodeo in Idaho. Can you tell me, or do you know, like, for how long it's been going, or kind of the history behind the rodeo?
Absolutely. So its inception was 1911. Now, we do tend to have a lot of really great conversations with some of the other Idaho rodeos that have, in a way, been going on longer than we have. We do consider open rodeos and amateur rodeos to be super significant, just not on a scale of what would be considered as professional. So where we are affiliated with the PRCA, also known as the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, that's where we have, I don't want to call it bragging rights, but we have bragging rights of being able to be considered as Idaho's oldest professional rodeo due to our inception back in 1911 and celebrating 115 years. So I think our biggest conversational battle is a lot of folks from the Border Days Rodeo. I think that's Grangeville, if I'm saying that correctly, where a lot of them were, they were incepted 1912. A lot of folks, take that they're the Idaho's oldest rodeo. And so from their level, they're amateur. And there's not anything wrong with being open or amateur. There's still great contestants and great rodeos that are put on. It's just from the scale of the PRCA being kind of like the leader of pro rodeo, it just allows us to be able to maintain that Idaho's oldest professional rodeo, with then shortening it to Idaho's oldest rodeo.
Okay, that's cool. So it's the oldest professionally, and from the associations that it has from its inception.
Correct. The association we have with the PRCA. And the beautiful thing about being started back in 1911 is the way that it was even derived, so where it got its name. There was a chief by the name of Bonnet, and he and a lot of his tribal, so that's going to be the Shoshone-Bannock people, they used to go out and they used to round up wild horses along the range. That was before Idaho Falls was even like an actual thing. And then with that significance of the Shoshone-Bannock people, there was a stock contractor that adopted the name, and then they were the ones that were incorporated when Reno, so the Reno family and Reno Park, also now known as Taufus Park, ended up creating the War Bonnet Roundup, the first ever, and they took that stock contractor and utilized him, and that's where the name got adopted. So that's where we get the significance of the Shoshone-Bannock people, the ties into the War Bonnet Roundup, and we've been going strong ever since 1911. There have been a few years that have had to been missed due to unforeseen circumstances, wars, and, well, COVID. COVID was kind of a bummer for 2020 for a lot of rodeo events and events across the country. However, it's one of those things that we just continue to try and keep that lineage alive, that history, that magic. And I can say that versus bragging rights back in 1911, we've come a long way in how we support and pay these contestants to come and compete in Idaho Falls each year.
Yeah, I was looking online, and it's just, there's just so many people involved in this rodeo, in the roundup, and even in the specialty acts, and it was just insane to me because I've never been to a rodeo of that scale or that level, and I was just like surprised by just how much there was and how many people were involved, and it just feels like a rodeo that you wouldn't want to miss, because it seems like you guys have a lot of planned. Can you tell me a little bit more of just kind of what big events or maybe people or acts that we should look for?
So for this year, I absolutely can. We do tend to change up our clown/barrel man. So they're known as both. We tend to change them every year, and our specialty acts tend to change as well. We want to make sure that we give lots of opportunity, lots of variety. That way it's not just the same show every single year. So this year we have Kyle Lehman, also known as Hashtag. He's quite popular in the social media world, which is where that hashtag phrase comes from. And he comes with a lot of energy, a lot of involvement with the crowd, and I think that he's going to be a real gem when it comes to this event this year for our 115th year. And so he's going to have some acts of his own that he's going to bring and showcase each night. And of course, with rodeo, there's always off the cuff type of involvement. And so that's where his professional side and being the entertainer that he is going to really come into play. A specialty act, so we don't have a specialty act specifically. We did end up replacing a specialty act more with what has been a highlight of years past with the drone show. So each night we will have a drone show thanks to Zions Bank and the Idaho Falls Parks and Rec. So they have been courteous enough in order to give us a 14-minute show of that luxury. And then, of course, we always have the well-known fireworks at the very end that everybody makes sure to stay and watch throughout. Other significant and very talented contract personnel that we have coming. We have the voice of Idaho's oldest rodeo, that's Cade Rogge, as well as Marty Campbell. Those are our two main announcers. So they're going to keep the crowd engaged. They're going to keep them informed. They're going to make sure that they know everything that's happening when it comes to breaking down what events are, particular contestants, our hometown heroes. So, of course, the entire crowd always loves it when we have a local that comes and competes at our events. And then we have Zach Ekstrom, who is our third announcer. He's going to help with our pre-rodeo events. He's going to be kind of our floater with our winner's circle, our contestant interviews, that sort of thing. He is a prior calf roping, also known as tie-down roping, for anybody that has stayed with rodeo long enough to know the two names that imply the event. He's a prior contestant from the PRCA side that has actually come to the announcing side, so he knows both aspects of those type of approaches, which makes him a huge strength. We have beautiful tunes, and the house rocker, Drew Taylor, he's our music director, so he's the one that's famous for making off the cuff the tractor song last year that pretty well he used throughout the course of the nation of his traveling, and that became a popular insight, such as, you think you're the coolest guy in the parking lot, and then this guy shows up. And here comes our tractor. It was quite brilliant. We have our known stock contractors, so that's going to be Corco Rodeo. They're from South Dakota. They've been a part of our family for a number of years, even though they got brought back as like the main stock contractor here for the last number of years. We've had prior stock contractors in the past that have been the main ones, but they've always kind of been affiliated by subcontractor. They just so happen to have the bragging rights, as I like to call it, to be a part of our rodeo. So they're the ones that bring all of the stock, such as the bucking horses and the bucking bulls that you see out there. They're known for their up-and-comers. So Joker Poker is one of their significant bucking horses, as well as my favorite Tater Tot, which is a bareback horse, very well making her name in the world of pro rodeo. And then our subcontractors are Moxka. They're from Canada, and they have some beautiful bucking stock that have actually been known to buck over in the Calgary Stampede. And Corey and Lang. So Corey and Lang bring a lot of well-known bull bucking stock to our event. So with those kind of lineups, that's where we are able to draw in the contestants that we do from the Ross stock side of the house, is because we have such great animal athletes on our rosters. From another perspective, when it comes to contract personnel or specialties, we do have Lynn Smith, a legend, actually, that has been recognized in our Legends lineup. He is going to be our main PRCA, forgive me, here goes the brain thing that I was telling you about. He's going to be our PRCA judge, our main PRCA judge. So we end up having 3 judges that help score all of the rides and make sure all of the timed events run smoothly. And then we have Debbie Davis as our secretary, always phenomenal, full of knowledge, and you can always find her on Timers Island, which is very well known. So even though they may not be fully highlighted, they are definitely a part of the magic, the action, and the brilliance that helps make the rodeo flow.
Yeah, that's awesome. It seems like there's a lot of people involved in the process of, the stock and, bringing in people who, there are a few people you've mentioned who have over the years worked with you guys.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. For, oh my gosh, almost as long as I've been a part of things. There have been slight changes here and there throughout the course, but for the most part, since I want to say for at least 10 years, we've been pretty consistent with the same moving bodies. So it's been brilliant outside of just our barrel man / clown or our specialty act that do change each year.
Yeah. For each night, you guys have a different theme. Can you tell us a little more about what those themes mean, and I guess what kind of events will they see on those different days?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we start off with Wednesday, our kickoff event. That's our Toyota Wild West Family Fest, free to the public. It's going to be games and things within the vendor area. So our vendors will be up and running, the kids area will be up and running, and we'll have even more activities than what you would normally see on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday out in the parking lot. We do hold a mini production in the arena because we involve what's called our breakaway slack. So consider it as like a mini performance with breakaway ropers, but split up in sections for events to happen in the arena that involves kids. So super fun, super exciting, very interactive. Mm-hmm. That's going to be Wednesday night. Thursday night is our first responders night. We like to consider this a family night because it's the most cost friendly. And it's also basically the first night that not only do we give recognition to our first responders, but it's the first that anybody's going to see our new opening, who our new legend is for the year, and to be able to see actually a pretty well-stacked lineup of contestants that are known nationally, circuit-based, as well as hometown type of heroes. So that's Thursday night. Wear your purple if you'd like. We're actually celebrating 250 years every single night, so everything's going to be decked out in patriotic gear. But as for years past, we have considered it as purple night. And then Friday is tough enough to wear pink. That's going to be all pink based, even though we, of course, will still be decked out in patriotic. It's pink night, wear your pink. Tough enough to wear pink is a thing that's basically going towards breast cancer awareness. And that's going to involve a whole new set of contestants for the night. And pretty much the same kind of run of show flow. But, of course, with each night with Kyle, #Layman, he's going to keep it entertaining and fresh and new. Saturday is our salute to veterans. We call that to black out our arena. So you either come in patriotic gear or black, whatever the preference is for that event. That's where we do give recognition to our veterans, so our current military, our veterans, and any that have passed on. So we've got a little different opening in terms of what we've had in the past to help recognize everybody that's involved from the military side of the house. Again, whole new set of contestants, kind of a considerate of who's going to win, be the overall winner for each event within the rodeo. But we do also have after parties that are all age friendly on Friday and Saturday that we also welcome everybody to come out and, enjoy the festivities and some music, a DJ, a band, that sort of thing to stay and just have a little extra fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this, for the War Bonnet Roundup, where is it located? And what times does the rodeo open?
Those are such great questions. So we are going to be at Sandy Downs. We do have an arena sponsor, so we call it the Skilling Arena Sandy Downs. That is in Idaho Falls, over off of 65th Street. And the gates, so for Wednesday, the gates open at 4 because we start with our mutton busting qualifier, I think about that 4:15 mark. And we go all the way through until about 8:30. I mean, slack may take longer than what the event itself is open for. People are welcome to stay, still free. We do have 85 breakaway ropers to run that night, so everybody to come out and watch that. The Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the gates open at 4:30. We have pre-rodeo that starts at 5:45, and then the event itself, the PRCA event, starts at 7.
Okay, I love that. For the rodeo, I guess what to you, what is significant about it, and why is it something people should attend?
Well, the best part about being a part of Idaho Falls is the community, and we really have a lot of great stories of people that have been coming for generations. I know Bob Skinner did an interview with KPVI where he had a very touching story of a grandfather that had his grandson with him, and he felt that it was just absolutely perfect that he was the same age when his grandfather took him to the War Bonnet Roundup. So the fact that it can be a tradition for families, it's very family friendly, and it's also something that has been around for 115 years. is just telling of what the Idaho Falls area has done for this event. So the significance there with community, as well as the involvement with our Shoshone-Bannock people, and the fact that we do have contestants that are on that pro level that know how to give a show, ride the animals, fastest times, the animal athletes. I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint one specific thing that just makes this event so worth being a part of. I would have to say that overall, like for me, the entire atmosphere is what I like to call rodeo family, because whether it's your first time or you've come every single year since its inception, which is hard to do, by the way, at 115 years, but I'm not going to hold back from the possibilities. Mm-hmm. And everybody that just steps foot on that within those grounds is considered rodeo family, because it takes an entire family to be able to keep that thing rolling and going and being the historic event that it is.
Oh, I love that. Just real quick, where can someone go to find, a schedule or to learn more about the rodeo or buy tickets?
Those are really good questions, too. So our one-stop shop is definitely going to be online. That's www.warbonnetroundup.org. Now, the org part is super important because there is a really weird .com out there. We don't know why. Don't ask me why. It's a very strange deal. However, we are warbonnetroundup.org. That will give you a full lineup of everything that you can expect, history, tickets, royalty, you name it, it's on there. Now, as for tickets, when it comes to we've got the Coors Tent VIP. We have the main grandstands, which are reserved seating, as well as general admission. All of those can be purchased online. So the Coors Tent specifically and the reserved seating have to be online at that warbonnetroundup.org. Mm-hmm. As for general admission tickets, so that's pretty much like the free-for-all of all the other seats within the house, those can be picked up at Teton Toyota, which are the only discounted tickets, hint, hint, for anybody looking for at least $5 off of the tickets. Mm-hmm. We've got it at Rockin' Cross Country Store, Vickers Western Store, and the Idaho Falls Parks and Rec. Those are all areas that you can purchase physical general admission tickets. And if you are part of the military, we also have a military discount that you can purchase at the Idaho Falls Parks and Rec office as well.
Yeah, I love that. I think this is a super exciting event, and I love that you guys do this about every year. And this is the 115th annual?
This is yes, ma'am, 115th celebration. So since 1911, we have been trying to put on some kind of event for Idaho Falls for everybody to come and enjoy. So whether, again, if it's your first time or if you're a repeat, there's always something to do there at Sandy Downs during the War Bonnet Roundup.
I love that. Rodeo family. I think that's awesome. I'm Abrielle Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and I've been here on the phone with Kassi Jones. She's the chairman for the War Bonnet Roundup, and this is a rodeo in Idaho Falls, July 29th through August 1st. And she's also the executive producer for this show. So this is something super exciting for the family, for friends, and for individuals, first-time rodeo, or you've been to rodeo every year. This will be super exciting for anyone to attend. So thank you so much for your time, Kassi. It's been a pleasure to talk about the 115th annual War Bonnet Roundup. So thank you so much for your time.
Hey, it's been an absolute honor being here with you today. I appreciate the time and letting me speak my passion and everyone's passion about this local community event. Thank you.